Hey folks, Ed from BrainPulpTV, and I'm back with another Star Wars Destiny starter set. This one is the Boba Fett starter set. Now, I've already opened up the Luke Skywalker one here on the channel. If you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link for you guys to check out. Now, in that video, I mentioned some of this, so this may be a bit of repetition for you guys if you have watched that video. If you haven't watched that video already, the idea behind me opening up Star Wars Destiny starter set is this. Primarily for the past year and a half on the channel, we've done mostly Magic the Gathering content here. However, it's the beginning of 2018. This is the year I really want to try to start branching out more often into other types of gameplay. Tabletop gameplay, PC gameplay, what have you. But this was one of the games that some of you guys suggested in the comments section when I sort of did an impromptu poll to find out what other games you guys would like to see here on the channel. As well, this is going to be the first game that we're going to be playing on a new show that we're doing here on the channel called Tabletop Trenches, which is just like a show that we sort of been doing for the entirety of this channel being live, which is the Mana Cave, where we played live paper Magic and showed you guys the games. Instead, we're going to be doing just different types of tabletop games that aren't related to Magic the Gathering. So just a bit of a warning, I have never played Star Wars Destiny before. I bought the 2 starter sets as well as a couple of booster packs just to sort of dip my toe into it and see how I like the game. I have watched some tutorials online and some gameplay online, and the game looks great. And after opening up the Luke Skywalker starter set, I really love the feel of the dice in this game. One of the things I was worried about with this game is that maybe the dice were going to be like completely hollow and very light and not really have a good sort of roll feel to it. The dice in this game are of great quality, far better than I was expecting. So that was a nice little bonus that I discovered when I opened up the other starter set. Now, one of the downsides of having never really played and having very little experience with the Star Wars Destiny game is that I have no way right now of gauging the power or usefulness of the cards. So I may start, I'm going to read through the cards. Most of them I'm going to sort of gloss over. Some of them I may stop to read. A lot of the time it's going to be because I really like the artwork. Some of it's going to be some sort of a power or ability that catches my eye. Now, I don't know what's really great in this game and what's not. So if you're a more experienced player, well, anyone who's played this game at all is a more experienced player than me. But if you do have experience with this game and you have any advice whatsoever, please let me know in the comment section below. Trust me, I would love any sort of advice and feedback you guys may have as someone who's played this game before. Now, I also mentioned in the previous opening that these starter sets are a set deck list. These are basically designed to be sort of quick start kits where you can immediately open these up and start playing with a friend. So that is why I got them, so that we didn't have to initially worry too much about deck building, though that's something we may do later on if we find that we really like the game and are going to continue to play it here on the channel. Now, with that said, I did pick up 2 booster packs of Star Wars Destiny. This is the Awakenings expansion, and I'm going to be opening this up at the end of the video just so that there is a bit of a random nature as to what you might find in this video. So I did that for the Luke Skywalker one, and before we play these decks on Tabletop Trenches, we are going to use the contents of these booster packs to sort of augment the deck. So there might be a couple extra cards in these decks that aren't actually in the starter set itself. Now, unfortunately, the way that the game works, not unfortunately, but the way that the game works is that this is a villains set and Luke's was a hero set. And there's also sort of colors involved as well too. Boba Fett's yellow, and the other character in this is going to be red. So there are going to be certain cards in this booster pack that I'm simply not going to be able to add to the deck even if I wanted to. So maybe Travis, who's going to be playing against me in the Tabletop Trenches games, maybe we'll trade a bit of some of the cards in our open booster packs here so that we could, you know, if he's got a really good villain card and I'm going to be playing Boba Fett, I have a good hero card, maybe we'll do some trading and we'll augment our decks that way. Anyways, I'm going to set this aside for now because what we're going to do at this point is crack this open and I'm going to show you guys what's inside one of these Boba Fett starter sets. Okay, so here we go. Now, it was fairly easy to open up the last one, so hopefully saying that out loud hasn't just jinxed me. There we go. No, this is fairly easy to get this open so far. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to set the packaging aside there. Now, on the bottom of this here, we have these punch-out tokens. These are the resource tokens here. These are the damage tokens, and these are shield tokens. You'll be using these in a game of Star Wars Destiny. I've seen them used in the videos that I've watched already. So these are very useful, and it's nice that they include it in these starter sets. I'm just going to set this aside for now. It also includes a deck list, not a deck list, sorry. It includes a card list from the Legacies card set. So this is where the cards from the starter sets come from, I believe, is from the Legacies expansion. So this is an entire card list of all the cards you can find in that set. And then finally, but fairly important, is a fold out that explains how to play the game. Now, one of the things I was impressed with was just how small this is. It's not like a 100-page instruction manual or anything like that. It seems to be fairly quick instructions. From what I've seen online, it seems like most games when you're just starting out and learning, it can seem kind of daunting at the beginning, but after watching a bit of gameplay and just a quick tutorial video, I think this game is going to be fairly easy to sort of get the grasp on. At least sort of like get a base understanding of how to play. Maybe not master it right away, but I really think that the gameplay is going to come pretty easily once we start playing a little bit. All right, I'm going to set this aside, and now we're going to talk about the actual deck itself. I'm going to pop the deck out. I made this mistake last time thinking it was underneath. So here are the dice. Now, I mentioned this at the beginning of this video, but these dice have a nice, if I can get them out, come on, have a nice weight to them. They've got this nice feel. Like if you've ever played a dice game before, you know if it's sort of a lighter, sort of cheaper dice, it doesn't have that good feel when you're sort of tossing them out on the field there. So these dice they're a decent size. Like as you can see, they're quite large, and they have a nice weight to them, which makes rolling them actually a lot of fun and enjoyable as well too. So this packaging doubles as a dice tray. As you can see, there are 9 extra spots here. So if you're starting out and you're starting to buy some booster packs, because there is going to be, if you can see from the booster packs here, there's 1 die in each booster pack. So you do actually have room if you don't have any way else of storing these, like most people wouldn't when they first start a game like this. This tray actually has slots available for other dice that you may have with the game. So that's a nice little bit of forethought when it comes to design, which I really appreciate when game companies do that sort of thing. However, I'm going to set the tray aside now. We are going to now, after the little brief misfocus there, we're going to dig into the deck itself, and I'm going to go through each card. I'm going to read off each card. Maybe not fully, but I'm definitely going to read off the main cards or any of the cards that really sort of catch my eye. But before I do that, I'm going to zoom in so you guys have a better look at them. Okay, so here we are. We're a bit closer up now. I had a heck of a time getting the last pack open. So hopefully, I mean, I'll just edit it out if it takes me forever to do this anyways, but that's sort of one of the few complaints I've had so far about these starter sets, is just simply getting them open. Okay, that was a bit easier because I sort of know what I'm doing now. Now I'm going to go through these cards backwards. I'm not going to start with Boba Fett. I'm going to end with Boba Fett, providing I can get the deck out. There we go. So first we have the sort of info card here. This is going to explain all the actions you can take in a game. Play a card from your hand, activate a character or support, resolve your dice, discard a card or discard a card to re-roll your dice, use an action card, or claim the battlefield. It also has a legend here that shows what each of the symbols on a die is going to be. Now, all these symbols are not going to be on every single die, but as you can see here, it's got the blaster symbol, which is ranged damage. So you're going to encounter these symbols on both the cards that the dice belong to and the dice themselves. Let's quickly go over what they are. You got ranged damage, melee damage, indirect damage, focus, disrupt, shield, discard, resource, special, and the unfortunate blank. Blank is basically a red spot on the die, if I can find one that has one like this, which is basically just it's a failed roll. It means nothing. You can't really do anything with it. You can hope to be able to re-roll it if you have an ability that does so, but otherwise it's sort of a dead die. Okay, moving on, let's get to what's in the deck here, and I'm gonna do it this way. First, we have the battlefield. Now, the battlefield is where you get to pick a battlefield to start off with your deck. You and your opponent at the beginning of the game are going to roll. Once again, I'm not an expert in this game. I've yet to play it. I'm only going off of the tutorials and the games that I've seen. So if I say something wrong, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, because any advice would be welcome when it comes to learning this game. But from my understanding, the battlefields, each player starts off with one battlefield that they're going to choose for their deck. They're going to put it out, and at the beginning of the game, you're going to roll the dice, and whoever gets the highest number total is going to get to choose which battlefield they play on. And the battlefields all have some sort of special ability to them. In this one, it's claim, force an opponent to lose one resource. So this is going to be the battlefield that comes with Boba Fett's deck. Now, I'm going to flip them like this. As I mentioned before, we've got Hunting Rifle, which is a card that was in the Luke Skywalker one as well, too. This is the upgrade weapon card. It's basically like a piece of equipment that you can attach to your character. So it comes with a die, as you can see. Whenever a card comes with a die, it's going to have this set of values in the corner here. And yeah, it allows you to attach it to your character, and it gives them another die that they can roll so that they can sort of augment some of the power behind their punches, or, you know, ability to gain more resources. Basically, gives them a better odd of rolling something good because they're rolling another die with beneficial stats on it. So then we've got Hidden Blaster. Once again, it is another upgrade, and this one's got a interesting mechanic to it, Ambush. You may take one additional action after you play this card. After you play this upgrade, you may remove one shield from a character. Ambush seems like it seems like a very powerful mechanic, because typically in Star Wars Destiny, it's like your opponent goes, you go, your opponent goes, you go. And you can sort of react to what your opponent does, and he can also react to you. But with Ambush, it's you get two actions in a row, which makes it a little bit harder for your opponent to sort of like compensate for what you're about to do. So Hidden Blaster seems like it'd be a very cool card. Then we have a support card. It is for, you pay one resources and you can play Backup Specialist. Let's center this a little bit better. Support action, exhaust this support to reroll up to 2 of your dice. Now, I mentioned before that some of the dice have those red blank spaces. These are the types of cards that will allow you to compensate for that and possibly reroll an otherwise dead die. We've got Ice Storm, which is an event, so we can remove one shield from each character. And this one, as all these cards before, I believe, yeah, all the cards before have been gray, which means they've been neutral. So you can see down below, they're neutral in the sense that they're not either good or evil, but they're also gray in the sense that they don't have any color attached to them. Now, if your character is yellow, for example, you can put yellow cards in your deck. If you got a character that's also red, you can use red and yellow cards in your deck, and so on. However, any character of any color will allow cards that are gray to be in your deck. This is specific to a yellow character, so only a yellow character could play Quick Draw, which is an event. Play a weapon from your hand on one of your characters, paying its cost. You may activate that character. So that's an important thing to note when you're building a deck, but these ones obviously are built around the characters in it. So there's another yellow card, Face Off, which is another event. And then we've got our first red card here, which is Superior Position, which once again is another event card. Play only if you control the battlefield. Remove a die. So you can also, that's another sort of like mechanic in the game. You can remove like your opponent's dice, depending on the card that you play or abilities you have. You can also remove some of your dice, or dice, I should say, not dies. Lock and Loaded, which is another event, a red event. Now, if in the future, if I do this, if you guys want me to read off every single card in the starter set, let me know in the comment section below. I'm just sort of gonna go like mention ones that catch my eye for one reason or another. This is another event. Oh, sorry, I didn't even say what this one was. I got caught up in saying that I'm not gonna read everyone out. I'm at least gonna read the title of these cards. We've got Crash Landing here. We've got Crackdown, which looks like, yeah, you know, it's a police state, right? So event, play only if each of an opponent's characters has 1 or more damage on them, gain 1 resource. Oh, as well too, the colors down here show what rarity they are. These blue, I believe, is common. So Wrist Rockets. This sounds like it's going to be a hell of a cool card. It's an upgrade weapon for yellow character only, as you can tell from the color. It's special. Now, this is one of the things. There's a special symbol on them, so this is going to show that if you can roll this, you can use the special ability of Wrist Rockets. In this case, it's deal 2 damage to a character. You may spend 1 resource to deal 2 damage to a character. Nice. So it costs 3 resources to get out there, but it seems like a decent equipment. And it's obviously, you know, something that it's flavored towards Boba Fett as far as I can tell. So we have Hunter Instinct, which is another card that's going to have a die that goes along with it. It's got, once again, it's got special symbols, so deal 1 damage to a character or 2 damage instead if that character has 3 or more damage on it. Slave 1. So yeah, Boba Fett's ship is here. It is a, this is a support vehicle. So these are a bit different. These are going to have an extra die, but you don't equip them to your character. Now, with the other equipment, when you equip it to your character, you or augment your character, or however it's worded in the rules. I apologize. I may use some terms that are more that have come from different games because I have sort of, you know, more knowledge of different games. But anyways, a support vehicle is different. Now, the equipment you attach to characters means that when you're activating, which is turning it sideways, activating a character, you're going to roll all the dice of the character and the equipment attached to it. A support vehicle is different in the sense that this is going to have its own dice and you're going to activate this on its own. Now, once again, if I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But that is, as far as I know, is my understanding of it. Now, this is Boba Fett's ship, so it's a support vehicle. As you can see, it's got its own die characteristics there, and its power action, reroll 1 of your yellow dice. You may remove an opponent's die showing a value equal to the value showing on the die you just rerolled. So that sounds like a very, very powerful ability. Now, take that with a grain of salt because it is coming from someone who's yet to actually play the game. Then we got Take Flight, an event, Ambush, once again, I haven't played the game yet, but Ambush just sounds like it's going to be one of my favorite mechanics in the game. Reroll up to 2 of your yellow dice. So there seems to be a big re-rolling theme when it comes to Boba Fett's deck here. So Subdue, this is when I believe it's when they're staring down at Han when he's being frozen in carbonite. Choose a character that has 3 or more damage on it. Remove one of its character or upgrade dice. So got Rumors, which is another event, a yellow event. Force an opponent to choose a card in their hand, then look at all of the other cards in their hand and discard one of them. Oh, so this is interesting as well too. You can build decks around making your opponents discard cards because there are 2 ways to win in Star Wars Destiny. There's either you kill the characters that your opponent has built their deck around, or you can make so they have no cards left in their hand and deck. So discard is a secondary win condition that you can use, or a primary win condition if you want to build an entire deck around it. We have Imperial Mite, which I know it's not New York, but this just, you know, would be interesting to see this like rolling down the streets of New York. So it's an event, resolve 1 of your dice, increasing its value by 2. We got Battle Fatigue, which is another event here. We've got the 74Z Speeder Bike, or 74Z Speeder Bike, however you want to say it. It's an upgrade vehicle. Action, resolve this die and 1 of attached characters' character dice in the order of your dice. Or the order of your choice, not dice. It's a little bit weird. I'm not actually reading it directly from the card. I'm reading it from a monitor in front of me, and for some reason that makes it sometimes a little bit more difficult to read, but sorry if I flub any words or anything like that. I'm sure I'll catch it in editing, and trust me, I will feel a lot worse about it than you guys will when you hear it. So that is an upgrade vehicle, and we're getting down to the last few cards of this deck. We've got Entangle, event, spot a yellow character to remove up to 2 dice showing a combined value of 3 or less. Now, spot a yellow character. Spot is basically there has to be a yellow character on the board for you to spot before you can act. It's an extra cost to being able to play this card other than the resource cost itself. So look out for that because there's a very specific reason for the wording of cards that say spot a blank character. Now, I think this is one of the 2 characters we have in this deck. Yes, it is a Veteran Stormtrooper. Now, this is one of the character cards, and it's got certain values that you're not going to see in other cards. Most notably, it's going to have a life total. This is the total that your opponents are going to try to get down to 0 in order to knock it out of the game. And if they knock all of your characters out of the game, then they win. It's also got a value down here, which, as you can see, is 9. When you're building your deck, you can only build with characters up to a total value of 30 or less. So that's why this is important. Now, Another thing which you don't see on this, which you are going to see on Boba Fett, is a symbol up here which is going to show whether a character is unique or not. A Veteran Stormtrooper is not a unique character. There's a ton of different Stormtroopers. So you can have more than one Veteran Stormtrooper in your deck if you want. However, unique characters, you can only have one of. Now, this has got all the values that you've seen other cards that come with dice, and this is no exception. It does have its own die. I'm going to try to one-handedly grab the die from this very tight spot here, and it's not coming out at all. So yeah, there you go. So this is his die here. Now, I'm going to show you Boba Fett in a second, and I'll point out the differences between Boba Fett and this particular character. Okay, and last, we've got Boba Fett himself. Now, this is the symbol that shows it's a unique character. This is Boba Fett, Deadly Mercenary. You cannot have more than one Boba Fett in your deck. He's got a 11 life total here. He's also got a 2 numbers for his 30-point limit that you have in building a deck. Now, what that slash means is that if you're using the first one, the 12, it means that when you play him in your deck, you're going to be using just one of his dice when he's on the battlefield. However, if you want to use the 16 value, which you're most likely going to when you use this particular starter set, you're going to be able to use 2 of his dice. So that's just to show, like, if you wanted to still use Boba Fett, but his 16 is a bit too costly to put in another deck that you're building, you can use the 12, and that will allow you to use him with just 1 die, or once again, 16 allows you to use 2 of his dice. He's also got a special ability, as we can see, which is deal damage to a character equal to the value showing on a die, yours or an opponent's. That sounds like a very, very powerful ability. Once again, haven't played, so I can't be 100% sure, but that sounds like it'd be very, very cool. I'm still sort of torn as to which of these 2 decks I want to play, whether it's going to be Luke Skywalker or Boba Fett when I do face off against my buddy Travis. But initially I was leaning towards Luke Skywalker, but now that I see Boba Fett's deck, I'm actually kind of thinking maybe Boba Fett's deck is more my style, but I'm going to let Travis decide in the end. However, that is it for what you're going to find in the deck itself, but we are not quite done yet because we still have a Star Wars Destiny booster pack to open up. So let me just set the deck aside for now, and I'm going to crack this sucker open. Now, I'm going to try to open this up so that you guys don't immediately see the die and that the rare card is going to, because it's the rare card in each of these that's going to come with its own special die. So I'm going to try to open this up and not show the die. Now, the previous one I opened had a little tiny packet, a little envelope inside with the cards in it. I don't think this is going to be any different. Very difficult to get this out without looking inside of it because I'm trying not to show the camera. Okay, so there we go. So then, where's the die? There it is there. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. And now, previously, the card in front was a common. Yeah, so we're going to start off with a common. Ooh, it's a picture of Yoda. So I'm already liking whatever this is so far. I do like me some Yoda. So we've got Patience. This is the rarity symbol, by the way. The blue shows that it's a common card. So Patience. I'm going to read off each one just because there's not that many cards in one of these packs. So Patience is event. Remove any number of your dice, then discard cards from the top of your opponent's deck equal to the number of dice you just removed. Then we have Natural Talent, which is another event. Resolve one of your dice, increasing its value by 1. Then we have Strategic Planning event. Let's get this more centered. There we go, Ed. Ready or exhaust a support. Now we've got our uncommon card, which is Frowny Face McGee there. No Mercy, an event, a blue event. Discard any number of blue cards from your hand, then resolve one of your dice showing damage, either ranged or melee, increasing its value by 1 for each card you just discarded. And I believe the next one is our rare. Our rare card is Cunning. This is, I believe his name is Bib Fortuna, right? Cunning, it is upgrade ability, yellow character only. The special is use a special ability, special, which is the in bracket special, on another card in play as if it were your card. So this is the one that's going to have the die with it. Yes, it is. So yeah, this is another upgrade you can do for your characters. Sometimes upgrades are going to be pieces of equipment like a blaster or something. Other ones are going to be abilities, basically skills that they've learned over time that you can then attach, and it gives them another die. So there you go. Cunning was the rare card from the booster pack. Now with this particular rare card, it is a yellow card, which means that I could use this with either of the decks because it's also neutral, so it could be used either for heroes or villains. So This is potentially a card which will go to augment the deck when we do the sort of the matchup between Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker. And yeah, because it's yellow and Boba Fett's yellow, and I believe Luke Skywalker is also yellow, this could be used in either of those two decks to sort of increase the power of the starter set. So there you go, folks. Other than obviously what we pulled in the single booster pack, this is what you can expect to find in a Star Wars Destiny Boba Fett starter set. Now, as I mentioned a couple times before, we are going to be using this starter set along with the Luke Skywalker starter set in the very first ever episode of Tabletop Trenches here on BrainPulpTV. However, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, if you have any advice when it comes to Star Wars Destiny, if there are certain cards in here that are more powerful, maybe cards that I sort of flipped through and didn't fully read off that I really should have taken notice of, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from both people who are familiar with the game and people who are new to the game that may also have questions. I may not be able to answer your Star Wars Destiny questions, but there might be someone out there who could. So let me know in the comment section below what you're thinking, or you can contact me and follow me directly on Twitter, which is @BrainPulpTV. And with all that said, take care, everyone. Thank you so much for doing everything you guys do to help support the channel, whether that's liking, subscribing, telling your friends about BrainPulpTV, or even simply watching the videos. Have yourself a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you all again very soon.